Hey guys, this is Iron Wolf. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a retired competitive fighting game player, and I was a high-ranked competitive Warcraft 3 player for many years. I used to make a lot of videos about me playing Hyrule Total War. It's one of my favorite strategy games over the last I don't know how many years. Um, but since Hyrule Conquest version 0.3 has dropped, I've been really getting invested in this game and in the community just to try to support it. Over the first two versions, I wasn't really that active in the game, but now that there's more factions and the game is bigger and a little more balanced, I want to, try to get involved. So I've been experimenting with a lot of factions in the game, and I wanted to make a video explaining a standard build for one of the stronger factions in the game, in my opinion. This is a very standard build order that's very universal across most of the matchups in the game. Uh, and when I say that this is a very standard build order, I'm not saying this is the only way to win with this faction. I'm saying this is a stepping stone in the right direction towards victory of whatever strategy you have in mind. Whether it be, Deku Tree and Slingers, Mass Minutemen, Tier 3 Deer, or whatever you have in mind, this is a good way to, get you going. So I will say a couple things about the Kokiri. They're a very strong, aggressive early game faction. Their late game is not as strong as some of the others, but because of how strong their economy is and how quickly they're able to build things and gather resources, it puts them above a lot of the other factions because they have so many resources by the 10-minute mark compared to the Gorons or the Hylians or the Zora. Um, So without further ado, let's get into it. I'll leave a link to a text version of this build in the description so that you can download it and read over it yourself so you don't have to keep watching this video. And I will also leave a link to the replay of the match that I'll be analyzing. So let's get into this. So this is me versus the AI. I could show, an actual match, but I want to just show you guys the build itself before I do any of that. So let's get into it. So right off the bat here, you'll see I'm on the Gerudo Desert map. I send all four of my workers to the bushes and all my Minutemen to the trees. And I'm immediately queuing up 5 workers, and these workers are going to be sent to wood. And then the other workers that I produce out of here will be going onto the food. So the first worker off of the bushes, let me pause this to show you. So let me just review what's going on right here. So right off the bat, all Minutemen go to wood, all workers go to the food. Immediately queue up 5 workers, and these workers are going to be going to wood. And then you take the first worker to drop off his food will be going over here to build a grove right here, and you're going to use this grove as a storehouse and other community homes and all that to get your population going. Um, so I also send my scout over here to go, scout on my opponent, see what they're up to. Um, but as you see, those 5 workers are now out. I'm producing, let me pause this and show you. Now I'm going to start producing 6 workers individually, not in a group, because at this point you won't have the resources for it. But I'm producing 6 workers to go onto the food, and I'm having them build bushes as they come out. I like to queue up bushes with my worker that's right here. I like to have him queue up about 4 bushes right here, so that right as they come out, they can start working on it. Um, but you can do whatever you would like. It's totally on you. But so you see, I'm constantly producing workers, groves being built. These people are in the wood. She's scouting. Another thing you might want to do too is, so you're going to use this a lot. Out of these 5 workers that you sent onto the wood, that's going to be 2 of them are going to be your building team. So I like to, while they're cutting wood, I like to select 2 of them, put them in a command group, and this is your building team. These are the 2 that are going to be building your structures and stuff in between gathering resources. So you see, I'm still constantly producing workers. They're getting wood. The market grove goes up, and I'm going to start upgrading it into a community home. And I'm sending my building team, you can see here, over here, to build another grove. So at this point, once you have 200 resources, or 200 materials, let me just go to this. Once you have 200 materials, I just did it at 190 because by the time they're done with that, I'll have enough for a second one. But as soon as you have 200 materials after doing all of this, you're going to want to build 2 more market groves with your building team. See, I'm still producing workers until I have 10 workers on food. And see, I queued up the second grove here so that they can get those 2 up. And these groves are both going to be upgraded into community homes so we can get more population. You see my scouts coming back from scouting. Uh, so this is something I like to do sometimes depending on the match. During the time frame where I'm producing these 6 workers to go onto food, I'll sometimes upgrade my community grove into community homes just to give yourself that extra population boost. But you also notice here, this one, as soon as the community home goes up, you're going to start building a storehouse. And the reason for this being, as soon as the storehouse goes up, you're going to want to get the wood gathering upgrade. Yeah, you see here, as soon as it was done, I get the planned forestation. This is so you can get more materials and get your buildings up faster. And you see I'm upgrading this into a community home. So let's review. So after the start, I had the workers on food, Minutemen on wood, 5 workers to wood, and then I build this grove right here, and then I put 6 workers onto the food. So after that, after I have, at this point you should have a total of 3 workers and however many Minutemen on the wood, 10 workers constantly building bushes. This is something you need to keep in mind when playing the Kokiri, is be checking up on your bushes to make sure you don't have any idle workers. Just constantly just be producing some bushes. So you should have 10 here, and then you should have your building team building 2 groves that should both be upgraded into community homes once they're done. So you see here I have 10 workers there, 2 and 3, and then I have my 2 workers there. So at this point, what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you get 250 food, after doing all this, you're going to want to queue up 5 workers, and these workers are going to go straight to the ore. The reason for this being, you're going to need ore for Minutemen later, and other, units that you may need. So the wood gathering upgrade is complete. The materials will start coming in faster. The workers that were building these 2 are going back to wood for the time being. You see there on the ore. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just chill for a little bit. Maybe you can go scout or, upgrade some of these groves into other buildings you may want. But at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to want to wait until you have 350 materials, and then you're going to want to build a military grove. And this is so you can start pumping out, Deku trees and slingers and whatever else you may want. So you see I'm still constantly producing bushes as they're getting low. And then the other thing too is, as soon as you have those 5 workers on the ore, you're going to want to take 5 workers, or you're going to want to build 5 workers right after that, or as soon as resources allow, and have them go to wood so you can start getting more materials. So you can see here they come going onto the wood. So let's look over some things. So after you get those 2 groves up, have the building team go back to the wood, queue up 5 workers to go onto the ore, and then once the workers go onto the ore, you're going to want to queue 5 more workers to go into wood. And you're going to want to wait until you have 350 materials, and once you do, you're going to want to immediately build a military grove. And you also, if you want to, I like to do this for the extra ore, but you don't have to. After I get the 5 workers that go onto wood, I like to have 5 more workers go onto ore if you like to, if your build, if your strategy is going to need a lot of ore. But as you can see here, once we hit 350 materials, got a military grove or a battle grove going up. And then you're going to make sure you have 5 workers queued up as soon as you get that up. And these are going to go onto food. You're going to want to start building bushes a lot more now, because now food is going to become a more valuable resource, because you're saving up for a tech up to tier 2, which you're going to be doing very soon. So you see the Battle Grove goes up. You're going to want to immediately upgrade it into a Fairy Seclude. Um, this is just a general thing to do first, because you're going to need Deku Trees with just about any strategy that you're doing. After you get that, you can go for Mudmen Tribe, or, Elk, the Elk Barracks or whatever, if you want to. But whatever works for you. At this point, you're going to start saving for tier 2, as you see there. I'm upgrading to, the next tier, so that I can start getting more buildings and upgrades and whatnot. And as soon as the Fairy Seclude goes up, you're going to start producing Deku Trees. I like to get around 5, but it's completely up to you how many you want. But, oh yeah, I will note, though, that this strategy is completely based around having Saria as your first hero. I believe personally that she is the strongest of all the starting Kokiri heroes. I think the other ones aren't very weak, or are very weak, and I don't think they're very strong at all. But Saria is very good because she gives you the access to the Deku trees, and she increases the rate of fire of your ranged units, which is really good if you're doing the Deku tree and Slinger strategy, which is very good. Uh, so I think she's the go-to hero in most scenarios with this faction. So you see I'm teching up here. I've got 15 workers on food, constantly producing bushes. Got them on wood. We've teched up. We're building 5 more workers, constantly producing Deku trees. You may want to scout. I didn't want to scout because I wanted to focus on the build as opposed to, checking out my opponent and whatnot. But you see, first Deku tree is up. Okay, so let me review over what's been going on for the last, couple scenarios here. After you get your military grove up, or your battle grove, you're going to want to upgrade it to a Fairy Seclude. Once you do that, you're going to want to start producing Deku trees. You need to make sure that you have 15 workers on food before you do this, but you need to start getting ready for a tech up to tier 2 as soon as possible. Preferably between the, 5 to 6 minute mark. Don't try to tech up any later than 7 minutes. If you hit 7 minutes and you haven't reached the next tier, you're going to be struggling a lot. So I would highly recommend that. So after you've teched up, you're going to want to queue 5 more workers that you see here, still producing Deku trees. And at this point, you're going to have your building team work on 3 more market groves. These are going to be upgraded into community homes so that you can get your population cap high enough to sustain your army. So you can do if you need more materials or if you need more rupees, depending on whatever strategy you're going for. Those 5 workers you queued up at your town center right after you tech, those can go onto stone or rupees, whichever you're needing more. I usually put them on the stone because I'm going to need some more materials later down the line. And rupees aren't as a necessity for me because I have the resources to build on my Deku trees. But you are going to want to start getting rupees close to this point because you're going to need to get your heroes in. So you see I'm still producing Deku trees. Got my 3 groves being built. Still producing bushes. I got 5 on the stone. Those workers on wood. Should have 10 here. Yeah, 10 on the ore. So at this point, you're doing very good. I'm at 6 minutes 30 seconds. This is a very good strategy. So far, very good build. I tried to find a match that I was, going super tryhard in just to give you guys something good to look at. So I'll continue with it. As you at this point, your wood line like here may or may not have been depleted. So something I like to do when I'm building these three um, groves here is I like to build one of them near my next wood line or wherever I think I'm gonna start gathering wood next. So once these workers are done getting the wood here, I send them up here. And so that's how you're gonna get more wood once like on Gerudo Desert. This wood line gets depleted very fast, so you're gonna start sending them up here. Um, so those five workers that you started queuing after you got those five onto the stone are gonna go to the rupees, like I was saying. I like to build another group of five to go onto the rupees because I have a lot of excess food when I'm playing. So as you see here, these groves are going up and immediately being upgraded to community homes. Still producing Deku trees until I have about 5. See, now I have 10 on rupees. This is going to help me get my hero faster and more Deku trees if I need it. These Kokiri are just clearing out this wood line first before they head on over there. Still producing bushes when needed. As you can see here, I queued up a group of 5 slingers to be built after I'm done with my Deku trees. That's because I'm going with the Deku tree and slinger strategy, which I think is the best strategy with this faction. But you can do, like I said, whatever you want, whatever you feel like, but make sure you have some Deku trees to help tank, because this faction really struggles in tankiness. So they're always a good buffer for your faction. As you see, as soon as this grove goes up, upgrading it. Got Saria coming out as soon as I can. And then I'm producing Minutemen just to have, an extra buffer in my army. You can, or you don't have to if you don't want to. It's all whatever, whatever you need if resources allow. Okay, so this is completely optional, but around this point, you can build another barracks or a battle grove if you want to upgrade it into community homes, so that you can have more population cap and have somewhere else to produce slingers for you. I like to do this because, it helps me get my slingers out faster and it helps me with population, which becomes a bit of an issue later down the road, but not too much. So you see I'm producing these Minutemen, got the slingers coming out, got my 5 Deku trees in Saria. Where's Saria? Okay, there she is. So you see these workers are moving over to the new wood line so that they can start getting resources from there. Battle Grove's about to go up. Something I like to do and this is something you should do if you're going with the mass Minutemen strat, is you need to be producing Minutemen from your market groves. I'm sorry, uh, at close to this point, because that will help you get them out way faster, especially if you have a bunch like this. It'll help you get a bunch of Minutemen out very fast. So I'll review, what's been going on the last couple interactions. Uh, so the last thing we talked about, got my three groves going up. They get upgraded into homes for population. New workers moved over to the new wood line up here. You could do it over here if you wanted to, or down here. It's completely up to you. Wherever wood is most convenient. Um, I get 10 workers on the rupees, and then I get my hero as soon as resources allow and start producing Minutemen from my town center. Once I have my 5 Deku trees up, I'm going to start producing slingers from here. And then you see here, at this point, I'm going for the second barracks, and because of that, I'm upgrading it into the community homes. Just want to let you guys know what's going on here. So you see I've got my slingers coming out. Group of 5 slingers, producing more. And I've got, I should have slingers coming out right here. Yep. So as you can see at this point, you got a very substantial army. You got a lot of food. You got workers on all these resources. You're in a very good place right now. Now, let me move this over 1 second so that you guys can see this camera a little bit better, timer a little bit better. So you see the timer there, close to 10 minutes. This is a good place to be with the Kokiri, having an army like this around the 10-minute mark. I apologize for the way my camera works, or like the way my recording software is set up, because like I can't get the right resolution with my monitor, so I apologize. But so you see, I've been producing slingers. I got more slingers coming out of my second barracks. I'm making more Minutemen. I've got a very substantial army right here. You see 10 Minutemen, 15 slingers. I got Saria and a bunch of Deku trees. This is a very good, like, standard starting army. Um, you might want to do a little bit less slingers if you're not going with Deku trees and slingers, like, as a general strategy. Um, but it's completely up to you what you want to do. But make sure you have, something similar to this, close to 10 minutes. And as you see here, this is more optional. I I probably didn't have to do this because let me pause the game. I probably didn't have to do this because I was planning on ending the game super quickly because I was doing a very aggressive and rush down strategy. But if you're gonna be playing a longer game, I guess you may want to start doing this now. Is getting 3 uh, market groves up at this point, so you can upgrade them to homes and start getting more population, and expanding your territory a little bit, so you can have maybe a third wood or second wood line over here, or gather this food right here, whatever you are feeling. And so I'm sending this army up here, to go maybe harass, maybe rush, whatever, however I'm feeling depending on the matchup. But I'm still producing slingers and minutemen for my barracks is in town center, just in case I need, reinforcements or just something to, defend my base. But you see here, I'm attacking my enemy at this point. There's nothing they can really do about this because, of course, this is an AI. They're unfamiliar and very bad. But in most situations, this right here. Let me pause the game. This right here is very difficult to deal with at this point in like this early in the game. As the clock is close to 11 minutes, at 11 minutes dealing with close to 30 Kokiri and some Deku trees. That's very very difficult to deal with as any faction. Even the Gorons with their strong buildings and defenses. It's very tough for them. Um, at any like most factions, they may not be defeated in this, but like in this attack, but they will be severely crippled. And because of the Kokiri's high eco, they will be able to that will be in their significantly in their favor because you'll be crippling your opponent's economy like to almost a standstill while your economy is flourishing. So let's finish this. So you see I'm just attacking here. I have my Deku trees be tanking most of the attacks while Saria is back here with my slingers, giving them the extra attack speed, which is very important for the strategy I'm using. Um, you can use the Minutemen as, human shields, just whatever, or Kokiri shields, I guess. Just whatever, works for you, however you're feeling. Um, and you see here, I've got, my army defending. Uh, I'm still producing some more, just in case. Um, I'm getting Grove Watchers, or because, like I want to, and it doesn't really matter at this point, but it's just something to keep in mind, at this point, when you have more resources and stuff, you may want to start producing more Grove Watchers and whatnot. Um, but I'm just building, basically an army similar to what I have in the front lines because I'm preparing, for either another attack or, in case my opponent decides to attack me. So let's go look over here. This should be the end of the game. Yeah, as you see here, I'm taking over their town center. So that's just about everything as far as the standard strategy with the Kokiri goes. It's very straightforward, very simple. I'm sorry if anything was unclear, but I should have a link to the replay in the description as well as a text-based copy. Um, I hope to make more, build orders and guides and whatnot regarding this game in the future. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll leave a link to my Discord in the description. I'm starting a Discord so that people can come in there, debate and talk about Hyrule Conquest, just in general. Um, I really hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys will like and subscribe this video or to this video. And if you have any feedback for me, just let me know in the comments or in Discord, just whatever. I'm always open to criticism and constructive feedback. So yeah, so that's the Kokiri in a nutshell. This strategy may differ. If you're fighting the Gorons, maybe you want to do more Deku trees, or if you're fighting the Gerudo, you may want to do more slingers. Because they're so squishy. Uh, the Goma are a little more tricky because you're gonna want to. The Goma, I'm trying to think. The best thing against the Goma is more of like a Minutemen, like mass Minutemen rush because like you'll need the extra bodies because the Goma will just tear them apart. Of course, you're gonna want Deku Trees in there to tank, but it's slingers are not the greatest strategy against Goma. But just this is a very general strategy. You can apply the strategy to most matchups in the game and usually come out on top. So that's everything for the Kokiri. I hope you guys liked it and be sure to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.